So this time around, we will be using a huge server with a bunch of data and analyzing this. So we will go and connect to University of Arkansas datasets. We will fetch data from there, get it to SAP Predictive Analysis, then run ours a priori to get market basket analysis done with association rules, and then visualize it again in the SAP Predictive Analysis tool. So to get us going, we are now going to do File and New, and first of all, as our data source, we're going to select this query with SQL language. Let's do that from the scratch, so we will press Next after that. And now we should have, during the installation, gotten ourselves a Teradata 14 JDBC drivers. So these will really let us access the University of Arkansas data, and you should have that in this list by now, done through the installation of software. Now, it really prompts us a username, then a password, then after that a server number, and everyone can, for this time, for accessing this University of Arkansas data set, enter 130.184.26.161. And of course, in your work situation, there's going to be a different server that you'll be accessing. Now I press connect, and now I have the database structure. I'm going to actually just paste the SQL query here, so you can always write it from here or copy paste it from the documents. And let us not go deeply into the SQL query structure right now, but just show what the result of it is going to be. So I'm going to click preview, and it's going to be exactly the same transactional format, which means that on the first column you have your transaction numbers, or market basket numbers. On the second column you have the item that was bought. So the same market basket number may come in many times. And then in that case, many items were bought during one market basket. And all the rows are called transactions here. And now let's just click on show record count. It's going to take a while to fetch the records. It shows that this database contains all in all 34,000 transactions in different market baskets. And now let's press create, and I'm going to skip the procedure because it's going to take a few minutes to get it there. So it's, first of all, it scans the source, and now it shows that it has so far not even gotten 1,000 rows out of that 35,000. As the data fetching is done, it automatically displays for us the Visualize tab. We go to Prepare to look at this data. It says Teradata 14 dataset. It also says, shows us the table itself, which is, first column is the basket numbers, the second column is the good purchased on that transactional line, and every line is one transaction then. And if we click on the, let's say, the transaction, in the transactions column of market basket number, if we click on a market basket number, it shows that, for instance, this specific market basket on the right side has contained 55 items. So it corresponds to 55 out of those 34,000 rows that are all together in our data. If we click on a good, then here it shows, for instance, that Bounty paper towels has been purchased 315 times. And now let's go and click on Visualize. On Visualize here on the left part, we have the dimensions, which would be our primary description and the visit number. The visit number is a numeric already, so it also appears on the measures. But we want to move the primary description to measures now. So what we do is we click on its settings icon and click on Create Measure. We're going to look at what else is there later, but now primary. So to get us going, what it does, it counts all those descriptions that there are. So what we want to change is we want to click on settings again and change aggregation and change it from count all to count distinct, which means that it basically counts the number of times each has been bought. And now the next thing is that select what graph we're doing. So these are the bar charts, but we'll select it and go to column charts. And what we should do now is we should put on the y-axis the primary description, and then click and drag on the x-axis the visit number. So here it is. Now it shows us for every visit number, and we can go on data. For instance, for visit number 2, 3, 2, 3, 6, 7, and so forth. There are 10 descriptions that are going for it. So 10 items were bought in this market basket. And what we want to do now is we want to go to that primary description here already where we installed it on the graph and do such a thing that sort descending on those primary description counts. And here we see the result. This is the graph we were looking for. So it shows that there are some market baskets like those on the right that contain like only one item that is bought, and some that contain 2. So as you can see, like 50. So to get us going, we 50% of transactions contained 3 or less goods that were bought. And then what we see here really from this graph is the Pareto rule or power law, which basically states that there are few visits that really had a really big number of goods purchased. So as you can see, there was one visit with 55 goods purchased, and there are very many visits that have only like 1 or 2 goods purchased. So this is the outcome of this visualization. We will now take our analysis a step further and run a priori. So let's click on the Teradata 1.4 dataset. Let's add an algorithm. From algorithms, our a priori. And here it is. Now let's configure it. We will once again say that the dataset contains data in transactions format. The item column is primary description column, and the transaction ID column is the visit number column. And we will furthermore say that we want the output in the form of rules. Now we will say that the minimum support is 0.01001 and confidence is 0.1. So this means that, and we haven't said that before, it essentially means that it selects all the rules that are above both thresholds. So the rules that have support of at least 0.1% and the confidence of at least 0.1, well, they're selected. So let's click on Done, and let's run this analysis. You see this checkbox indicates it hasn't run so far, and it's going to take a while, so let's come back after the analysis has run. And here we are, this is ready. Let's click on OK, and we see, for instance, that with Polish dog chips, you have another food that's Polish dog that's being purchased. The support is less than 1%. The confidence is 20%, and the lift is 46. So such rules are outputted. And now what we want to do is we're going to go to Visualize. First of all, under Visualize, we have to say that we are at Teradata 1.4 dataset. We are at our analysis 1, and we will have to select that we are also at the R a priori component. So this now gives us the data. The main data is here: confidence, lift, support, and the rules. We have them. The 3 of them are in numeric format, but they're not marked as measures right now. So let's do that. Every time we want to really put it to a data screen, we do a create measure by clicking on the settings icon. And for lift, the same thing, create measure. And for support, also create measure. Okay, now those measures will sum everything up here. So what we do is click on settings on here as on intern and change the aggregation. So we don't want them aggregated, so we say none. Whereas it could have been like instead of sum, let's say minimum or maximum or count or average. So we do none for all the measures because we want every market basket rule to be on the graph. Now let's change the chart. So lately we did a bar and column chart, but now we're going to go to scatter graph. So scatter graph essentially has something that marks the x-axis, something that marks the y-axis, and then something is drawn on the respective coordinates. We do an intricate scatter plot, which is a bubble chart, in case of which we can also change the size of the data point. So let's do such a thing that let's click and drag the support to x-axis, confidence to y-axis, and lift to bubble width. So the bigger the lift, the bigger the bubble is. So let's take this bubble. It has a support which is quite big, comparatively big, and it's above 1%, and then it has confidence, which is comparatively low, 13%, and the lift is 7. So let's take a look at this rule. We can check all those rules out, and on the legend on the right there is also a legend how big the lift is. So the lifts go here up quite high, up to 200 when compared to the previous data set. Let's do a further thing. Let's take the rules and let's put them to legend color. So we can take a XY coordinate, create a different sized rules, and then color them to be able to distinguish between them. So what you see is the rule that we looked at was mounted paper towels, Kleenex. So these two are often purchased together. And we can do further things. We can, for instance, select this class of rules here and do filter. So it only lets us have those rules. For instance, sports utility TLTV goes with the battery exchange. So such rules that we can mine from here, and also we can just do away with this filter so that we're back to the original picture. We can, for instance, take a look at all those free small rules here. Take a look at what's going on. So now we're done with creating the graph.